Hi, my name is Dr. Maureen Day, and I will be the instructor for this online course in Theology of Marriage. Feel free to call me either Dr. Day or Maureen. I'm perfectly fine with either. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm an assistant professor at the Franciscan School of Theology in Oceanside, California. My research areas are family, young adults, and religion and civic engagement. I've written chapters on marriage preparation programs, advised dioceses in their own programs, and I've been happily married since 2003, and I have 2 children. If you want to know more about my publications and other scholarly work, you can visit my academia.edu page. In this course, you'll see that many of the lectures are sociological in their methods, and the readings are a mix of the theological and the sociological, as I think both are important in understanding a theology of marriage. At any rate, I'm very excited about this course, and I'm looking forward to teaching it again in this online format. I'd like to highlight a few points in the syllabus, but please read it in its entirety on your own. First, there are 2 core learning objectives for this course. One is that you learn to think from different perspectives and come to careful ethical positions. The other is that you assess the insights from religion and apply them to contemporary situations. The papers assess these outcomes, but also try to keep them in mind as we go through the course, as the online discussions are also graded with these in mind. There are 3 texts you'll need to purchase for this class. Pope Francis's The Joy of Love, or also known as Amoris Laetitia in Latin, Aziz Ansari's Modern Romance, and Arlie Hochschild's The Second Shift. We'll move really quickly through 3 units: history, identities and ideologies, and life cycle and special topics. As an aside, while all the sociological pieces are focused on the American experience and the theological readings come out of the Catholic context, all perspectives are welcome, from international experiences to other faith systems. What we need is a curiosity about the topic, a willingness to discuss apprehensions or disagreements surrounding a position or topic, and a willingness to hear the apprehensions or disagreements of your classmates. So, practice your netiquette, and remember that respect, thoughtfulness, and engagement will generate great discussion, especially when we're not all in agreement. As far as requirements for the course go, participation is really important. Clearly, in this online context, we won't have face-to-face interactions, but we'll have opportunities for weekly discussion in 2 formats: synchronous discussion through Zoom and asynchronous online postings. The Zoom discussion days will move around on a weekly basis, but these will always occur in the evening California time. When I ran this course previously, there were several students who worked, and having meetings in the evening seemed to get the highest attendance. My previous students also told me that meeting live was more fun and also took less time than participating through posting, so I'd encourage you to do this if you are able. If you participate in the Zoom session that week, which are roughly an hour, no longer than an hour and 15 minutes, you will have fewer online postings expected. I'll have more details on that each week. But you have the choice. You can either participate in the discussion format on our online site, or you can participate in the Zoom meetings, so the choice is yours. You must also help design a group discussion during 1 week of our course, in which you and other students who signed up for that week will design an online presentation on ideas that come from the readings that week. Coordinate as a group if you want to have a common theme, or simply divide up the readings, but each person should pick a narrow topic from that week's readings to go deeper with. Write up a brief paper, 1 to 2 pages double-spaced. Importantly, at the end of your paper, include 1 question that will help lead our discussion for that week. Participation for the course counts for 20% of your total grade, with this presentation component, being 5% of your total grade. Abstracts are another assessment of your learning. 1 abstract is due each week, and they are to be a summary of the readings. To clarify, I'm not asking you to reflect on them, to criticize them, or apply them. These are important things you'll do in the discussion and in the papers. The abstracts are just a brief summary, 12 to 15 sentences, to pull out the major ideas of all the readings, just to get your cognitive wheels turning for class. Again, all the readings. Be sure to pull out an idea from every chapter or article we read. You'll be posting these online every Thursday by 9 a.m., except for the first week of class, when it's due the first Monday or Monday of the second week of class at 9 a.m. I should also point out that all the times in the syllabus and for our Zoom meetings are Pacific time. Your abstract is worth 2% of your grade each week, for a total of 10% of your grade over the course of our class. There are 2 analysis papers that you'll be turning in. Think of these as your midterm and final, as we don't have any exams in our class. They are the same type of assignment, but the first one is 20% of your grade and the second is 30%. This is simply because the second paper tends to be better as students have a better handle on the material and they integrate the feedback from the first paper into writing that second paper. I discussed the details of these assignments in the syllabus, and if you have any questions on any assignments, there are discussion boards on our site where you can post your question or see if another student has already asked that question. Finally, the last assignment is a case study. I go over this in the syllabus as well, and it's worth 20% of your grade. I also want to take this opportunity to remind you that Santa Clara, like every university, takes academic integrity very seriously. Often when I get to this portion of the syllabus, students nod their head in agreement or boredom, but all too often I come across a case of plagiarism, and, as is required by SCU policy, I have to report this event to the Office of Student Affairs. Please, seriously, just don't do it. Every time it happens, the student acknowledges that it wasn't worth it. Learn from their mistakes and showcase your own learning. Thanks in advance. Okay, on to what we'll be covering in the next 5 weeks. Our first week we'll be looking at the history of marriage in the West. It is a lot to cover, but it is really insightful for understanding how we arrived at our current understanding of marriage today. The second week we'll look at gender and marriage. We'll read a variety of church documents on marriage as well as some contemporary theological pieces. This week we'll also look at the theoretical frame of what has become Arlie Hochschild's classic study of the role of gender and gratitude among dual income families. Some couples may look familiar to you if both of your parents worked. The third week we'll look at more of Hochschild's couples and her analysis. We'll also begin Aziz Ansari's very accessible and sociologically informed examination of contemporary dating. Week 4 brings us to a longitudinal view of marriage from its earliest beginnings at engagement through the birth of children. The final week will explore divorce and same-sex marriage. All in all, this course will give you better tools for understanding relationship, marriage, and family in the American and Catholic context. Again, I'm Dr. Maureen Day, and welcome to the class.